Hey, so welcome to the 24/7 Marriage Wait, hold on. The podcast brought to you by 24/7 Marriage.
Yes.
Why?
Yes.
Tell them.
Well, because we're the original marriage flippers. So if we can't even flip our own podcast, then who are we really? I mean, think about it, Javier.
Yeah. So this is the exciting part. So we are coming to you. This is episode, I think, 196, 197. Okay, 197. And some exciting things have been taking place in the life of 24/7 Marriage. And we have partnered with 23 Media. And so this is the first podcast with 23 Media, which we are incredibly excited about.
And incredibly nervous.
Nervous?
Well, okay, so think about it, Javier. 197 episodes we do by ourselves in the Cracker Jack box that we call the Marriage Lab, all by ourselves. Nobody's around. And now
there's people watching us.
There's people watching us. And we stand on stage and teach all the time, which is different. But now I'm feeling, I have this like anxiousness, but I'm going to get through it and it's going to be great.
I feel like it's just us right now.
Well, but
that's how close I feel to you. It's just us. It's just me and you in this room together having a conversation.
That's precious.
But we have been going through some exciting changes and shifts. And so we had our summer break, which was great. We've always taken the break from podcasts and some of our work that we do.
In the summer,
so now we're back. And as we're back in this new partnership, and we've also partnered with Motive. So some exciting things happening. We have rebranded. So you're going to see new logos, new looks on many of the resources and content that we're doing.
Can we talk about how I cried for like 20 minutes in the kitchen after we got off the phone with Zach and Motive? And they're like, so we want to scratch everything and start over. And I was like,
it wasn't like that. It was like, how do you feel about it is what it was.
Yeah. And then I was like, game on. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's throw everything to the wind. And
so we love what has been taking place and from the new branding and all that's been going on. So very excited about that, to bring all of you into that. And so we want to first thank you, especially those who have been part of the journey of 24/7 Marriage, and even on the podcast, being part of that and listening in. It has been so fun, and it just continues. You're just going to see a new look. You're going to see some, new content and resources coming out.
Yeah.
But also on the other side of that too is you probably have already noticed you're seeing a new name for the podcast. So our new name, ready?
Drum roll.
Is the Field Guide. I just totally forgot it.
I was like, I am not going to save you. I'm going to let you drown.
It's new, so it's coming, but Field Guide for Marriage.
Yes.
And the reason why we've titled it Field Guide for Marriage is that we believe that's what we're invited to do with couples. Mm-hmm. What we've done is that guide, like coming alongside, walking with them, journeying with them. Mm-hmm. And so for me, that's been an incredible part of what we get to do. And so a field guide for marriage that we get to walk alongside people. We get to through the mess, through the struggles, through every season of life in marriage, and be able to point them towards being able to find content, resources, and restoration, healing in their marriage.
Well, back in 2012, when we started 24/7 Marriage, that's what we were doing with people in our lives that God was just strategically placing. We were just walking alongside them, pointing them, giving them the tools. For us, foundationally, it always comes back to Jesus. Like if you're not walking with the Lord, there's nothing that we're going to say or do that's really going to help you long term. Yeah. Because it all comes back to that. So now I feel like we're doing the same thing, but with a bigger audience, and that's exciting that we get to reach more people. You know how when I check our emails of like all the downloads, and I'll be like, Javi, you won't believe, like somebody downloaded how to pray for your spouse in like Zimbabwe or these like really weird, obscure countries. And I'm like, something that we wrote that is pointing them back to Jesus, somebody in another country is reading and maybe praying right now. Like, what? That's awesome. That's mind blowing. Yeah. So I know that the work that God's doing, he's going to continue to do it, whether we're here or not. Yeah. So that we get to be conduits of it, that we get to be a part of it. Yeah. I'm humbled. Yeah. I'm grateful for 23 Media. I'm grateful for their friendship and their trust. So don't mess it up.
Oh, I'm not going to mess it up.
Well, I'm not going to mess it up.
Everything I do is pretty much, especially with
you know what, honey? You should tell everybody how you glow in the dark. When all the lights are out, Javi, like, oh, you glow.
I do. It's evident.
Yeah.
So how are you doing? I say that because that's...
You know that it's one question.
It's always the one question you do not like when I ask, hey, how are you doing?
Well, you know what? This morning, getting ready, I actually did something that like 12-year-old girls do. And that was I burnt the back of my neck with a curling iron. So like the back of my neck's like slightly on fire right now. Because I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, did I just learn how to use a curling iron? But here we are. So.
Right. So you always like to banter. I know you had some questions you wanted to ask in the beginning.
Well, this episode is really directed towards our new audience, but also we're going into season 6. So it's time to kind of reintroduce who the Labradors are.
Yeah.
And kind of like our origin story, our family, how amazing our marriage has been. And that's why we got into full-time marriage ministry, because we're so awesome.
We've
and
had
we just want more people.
Good years. 28 good years and been married for 32 years.
Yes.
And that's always the thing you say. Like, I've been saying 33 years because every time we turn a year, you already start saying the next year. So you're like 33 years. And it's been 32.
It has, but I thought that you were saying 33 because we're walking through the 33rd year.
We're in our 33rd. We began our 33rd year. Yeah.
Okay. You asked me.
So I have some questions for them that I want to ask you first.
Okay.
So it's a little bit of a get to know us, but so where's your favorite place to be besides in my arms? That's when we need like a laugh track or something, because
I know you so desperately want to be Ross Geller and like push up. Like
do.
You would just love a little synthesizer keyboard underneath you, but we're not going to let that happen.
All right. Your favorite place to be?
On the coast of California or on a beach in Maui.
Okay. Am I there?
Those are my happy places.
Am I there with you?
Sometimes.
Alone time is good.
No, I love alone time, but no, you and I on the beach doing nothing, reading a book.
Am I wearing anything? I'm kidding.
Javi. This is a family-friendly podcast.
Oh, please, Shannon. So I think some couples don't always understand that.
Yeah.
Is like having that time where you actually are, for us, it's refreshing, right, to be alone.
Yeah.
And we love being with one another, but also that time you get to spend alone.
Yeah.
Where what fills your bucket, what refreshes you. And, for me, like, it's going outdoors, it's hiking, it's backpack, it's fishing. Like, that gives me life. That's refreshing to me. And so
I think it's important for every marriage.
I think it's important for you to understand, like, that's healthy. Like, early on in our marriage, it wasn't that way, because you would get mad if I would go, oh, you don't want to be with me? You don't want to hang out with me? I'm like, no, I do. But those are the things that and then slowly you learn, like, oh, this is life-giving for him.
Yeah.
He comes back, like, refreshed and better.
That's when I had a mindset shift.
Yeah.
And everything changed.
Okay, what angers you the most? You said in the world. What angers you the most?
What angers me the most? Ooh.
I'm reading the question that you're supposed to ask me. I don't know why, but
you know what really gets my goat is when I see men not taking their rightful place in their home and leading. And it's not because I'm like, God, you're such a terrible person. It's because I see the potential that God placed in them, that God desired ability, that when he created him to be a man, to lead his family, to spiritually pave the way for his family, praying over his family and leading. So it's frustrating when I see a wife that's kind of like drowning and she's craving that leadership so bad. That's
good. I like it.
Yeah.
What is the most challenging thing being married to me, if you can find just one?
You're a starter, you're not a finisher. And that's frustrating.
That hurts even hearing that.
Yeah. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of things.
There's a lot of
I mean, we're
Listen,
both flawed
we always
people
talk about
who got married.
We always talk about who takes up the most room in our marriage.
Yes, there's always somebody who takes up more real estate in the marriage.
And I am 100% the one who takes up more real estate. And kind of what we mean by that, I think it's because we're wired differently. I share everything. I talk about everything. I come to you. I'm always talking. As I've gotten older, I actually narrate my life, which I know you don't like. Like I literally will walk through the house like, I'm gonna get a cup of tea. I'm gonna get a tea bag. I'm gonna warm up my water. Like I walk through every step and I'm narrating out loud.
Which is fine. I think the part that I get frustrated with is like, were you talking to me? Like, did you ask me something? So I could have like headphones in listening to a podcast and I'll be like, what? He's like, oh, I'm just getting hot water, Shannan. I'm like, oh, great. And then I'm like, what I think
part of it is because
something?
with my ADD and like at times I'm not remembering. So I got to talk through everything that I'm doing in order to get to that place.
Yeah. But remember how I taught you from that?
How you taught me.
I taught you. I said, when you have
how you trained me so well.
No, I said, when you have something, you have to.
You told me to raise my hand.
I said, you put your hand in the air, Javier, walk around until you do that thing. But so Javier's like, take out the trash, take out the trash. He's like running around. But then I got to take out the trash.
But then I forget why I raised my hand.
And then he's like, why is my hand in the air?
Yeah,
it's not working.
I've tried all kinds of stuff and it hasn't worked. Anyways, what is something everyone must know about you?
That I actually care very deeply, because, in the family of the four of us, our two girls and us, you and Michaela are most alike, and me and McKenna are most alike, where you guys are the empaths, and McKenna and I are like, moving on.
So what's something that they must know about you I
actually really care very deeply.
I love that you say that, because do you think people don't think that you care or you have empathy? I mean, yes, I'm an empath. That is me how I'm wired, but I would say you do have empathy.
Okay, let's say that we're walking through the store and you see an old person. You and Michaela are the ones who are going to get all sad and emote and be like, oh my gosh, I want to help him. I want to buy him lunch. And McKenna and I are like, have a great day, sir. Like, that's just how we roll.
Don't trip in the parking lot. You'll be fine.
You'll be fine. But I was really nice to that lady on the airplane.
You were. She asked you a lot of questions.
I did my best to help her. I got her airplane mode turned on. I was doing my best to serve this nice old lady next to me.
Do you have any questions for me?
Yes.
What do you got?
All right.
I kind of asked some of yours.
Where is your favorite place to be?
In your arms.
That's not true.
Anywhere that there's a mountain and a lake, and standing in the middle of a river where I don't think about anything whatsoever. Nothing. Zero.
Yeah.
That's my favorite place to be.
Yeah. Why are you so outdoorsy? For me, I love that I can be outside. It's not confining. And it's not confining. For me, it's just a freedom. It's where I feel at peace. It's like typically, right? Which is funny. So we've been, we're kind of unpacking a little bit more of ourselves as we're going here. But, we've been for the last 4.5 years in the marriage lab. We took 24/7 marriage on the road across the country. And the marriage lab is a 38-foot, we call it marriage mobile support unit, if you will. So we've been traveling, doing marriage boot camps, speaking, workshops, all of that. And it's been incredible. It's just a season for the ministry to be doing that. And I'm going to miss that because it's shifting and changing a bit now. And because I would always get to be outside. Like we go somewhere, and where would I be working? Outside. While Shannan's inside, she's indoorsy, I'm outdoorsy. She would be sitting inside working the entire time, and I would be outside. Mm-hmm. And because that's, to me, where I feel at peace. It's where I feel... Well, even if we're back in a house, like
I'll be outside.
You can still go outside. It's not like that changed.
I know, but I think with like the marriage lab and like the traveling,
you were always in a different location.
I was always in a different location, and if I didn't like my neighbors, I would just move.
Yeah,
it's fantastic, and always different scenery, and so we got to do that work, but always be in different places and see different things, and so that was a season that actually united us quite a bit because like we got to do stuff together that other people would always watch us and say like, oh man, I'm so jealous of that. I'm like,
I feel like that season really stretched me.
Oh yeah.
Because you brought me along on a lot of adventures that I would never do on my own. I would never do
walk through the middle of rivers.
Walk through the middle of the Narrows.
Yeah. I mean, there's times we're hiking and you're not keeping up, and I'm very frustrated. Like that's happened quite a bit. So now we've learned when I go on the hike with you, it's like typically not too much of an incline.
You're frustrated with me?
It's usually flat. I plan them ahead of time that they're flat, that they're not too much because you get...
Okay,
like,
so if we're
I'm
hiking
not having fun because you're behind me huffing and puffing and be like,
Javier,
how much farther do we have to go? I'm like, we just left 3 minutes ago.
First of all, just to defend myself, if we're hiking through like Colorado, the elevation's already really high. And so I'm like, I might be breathing heavy because my lung capacity is not acclimated to the climate.
Okay, I'll give you that. All right, before we jump into more of our story, any other questions you have for me?
What's one thing you love about me?
I love that you are absolutely confident in who you are and you know who you are. You have an edge and attitude about you, which is what attracted to me when we met. And so we met in junior high. And who made the first move? That would be Shannan. And in junior high, you don't really date. You hang out.
No, we called it going out.
Okay, you went out.
But
we hung out at school.
Anywhere,
we didn't go anywhere.
You would say like, I'm going out with Javier.
We were dating. We're going out.
Yeah.
And I was talking to some other girl because that's just who I was. And she, some other girl that I liked. Or actually, I think she was breaking up with me. She didn't want to go out with me anymore because I.
You called her a horse.
I called her. To my defense, it wasn't actually one of my finest moments, but we were at her ranch and she has a horse and we were eating licorice and she said, "Don't give any licorice to the horse." And then she asked for a piece of licorice. And in my stupid 13-year-old brain, I said, "Well, I thought you said don't give any licorice to the horse." And that didn't go well. So I thought it was funny.
And she said, "I don't want to go out with you anymore."
Bye-bye. Yeah. And so anyway, so we met in junior high school and you ran up and the bell rang and you ran up, you gave me a kiss on the cheek saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And then you ran away. And that was it. And so, but there was that, even early on, that edge, that attitude, like you knew who you were. And I loved that about you. Because that's an area that I struggle in. That's an area where I struggle in confidence because of just how I grew up and some wounds that I received, in my childhood and just trauma in my past that I've struggled with just even value, worth, and identity. And at times where I've done some incredible work in that area, it still comes in. Yeah. That's been part of our marriage story that you have walked alongside me in some of those most difficult seasons and moments. And even later on in marriage, when you're 10, 15, 20 years in and something comes in, and it's not what you expected and not what you anticipated or what you had hoped for, but then there you are. And you've walked with me through those seasons that where I've experienced incredible pain and loss from that. And so I love that you're strong in that area. Aww. Yeah, I love that you're strong in that area.
Thank you, Pookie.
So we believe that story matters and that every life tells a story, right? Every and for us, right?
I'm a biography junkie, so I want to hear everybody's story.
Yeah, and so right now we're writing new chapters in our book, in our story. We're now in new season of marriage, of life, right? We've been empty nesters for 4.5+ years now, which is great. We have and we enjoy each other. Mm-hmm. Right, which is we're not faking that. We don't come on our podcast and we do stuff we're very real. I would tell you there are times she is not my favorite person, and I'm not your favorite person. That's just marriage. That's just life. Yeah. And one thing you've always seen us.
do like spending time together.
We enjoy one another, and now I know it's hard to believe, but we're grandparents, and incredibly young grandparents, but we're grandparents, and that's just a whole.
I don't know about using that adjective incredibly. I mean, Javi, look at the front of your beard. I mean,
that's just wisdom. Wisdom. So we're in that season of grandparents, but like story matters, and like how we arrived to where we're at today. And it has not been up and to the right. It has not been that everything's been perfectly laid out, that we've had everything figured out. We have been on a journey. We have had great loss. We have had great joys. We've experienced so much within marriage that, and I'm not saying that others have not, but we have been through it, and you have followed me. We actually, last night we're having dinner, and I was like, I like, you're crazy, because you have followed me in areas you never thought you would, and I'm always a person who I like change, and I like things to always be different. I get unsettled. That's why it's always sometimes been a struggle. It's not that I don't completely finish things, but I like starting things. I like birthing things. I like things, bringing things to life. And then, okay, now someone else can continue with that. Someone else can carry that from now on. So, but for us, like, story matters. So we met in junior high school. Like, that was our story. Like, we dated in the high school, and then, we got married outside. Like, there's a lot, and I'll let you tell that part of your story. But we got married. I proposed to you on the night of your high school graduation.
Yeah.
Like, I proposed to you, like, literally did not even wait. I had already graduated. And then, we got married young. I was 19, I was 20 when we got married. And it's hard to tell, like, when our daughter when McKenna wanted to get married, it's like, how am I going to tell her not to get married young? Like, we got married young, and she knew, and she did it, which is incredible. Yeah. So, but early on, like, we experienced stuff just even early on in our marriage.
Yeah.
Like, our first 5 years of our marriage were incredibly difficult. We say they were beautiful and they were brutal.
Yeah.
And we call it was our brutal years. It was the years that shaped and formed us. But they were the most difficult years. But they are an incredible part of our story, and even the work that we get to do now because of where we have been. And so I know, like, tell me a little bit more, just like for you, high school, growing up, and like what was part of that story.
Well, we always say that every married couple brings baggage with them.
Oh yeah.
Javi came with a nice leather 3-piece luggage set, the little carry-on over his shoulder, and then I backed up the U-Haul, dropped down that door, out rolls all my stuff. So I think the thing about our story, from the way I see it, is I was completely unaware that I had baggage. I was like, me? I'm fine. What's your problem? Like, you could just already tell immediately. It was like, there's so much baggage there, but I was completely unaware of it, which I think is the hardest thing looking back on my story, is how unaware I was of my own flaws and all of that. But we get to high school. We're dating. Actually,
we dated a little bit early in high school. Yeah,
not really. No. So
I thought we were. I thought I was there. We dated a little bit.
Okay, Javi.
For a brief moment.
We were together in junior high, and then you were already in 10th grade when I got to 9th grade, and we weren't together then.
It's probably the other Shannon then. I dated somebody.
Oh my God. This podcast is going off the rails. So I met Mike.
Yeah.
And it was a quick, like, romance. It was very quick. School started in September. I found out I was pregnant in February. I broke up with Mike, and then it was in June when school was out and school wouldn't let me come back, and you found me in the library. And in your very pastoral empath way that you have about you, that you exuded as a 16-year-old, that you just have this way to comfort, counsel, pastor people, that you came up to me in the library as I was checking books out for the next school year, and you said to me, I heard what happened to you, and if there's anything that I can do, I'm here for you. And I probably said something rude and sarcastic to you, and you probably walked off, but I just remember that pastoral way you had about you. And as I was home over the summer,
I came to sit with you.
You would call the house. We would
Yeah.
talk on the house phone, and
That's a phone that's connected to the wall in
it
case
had
you
a
don't
long
know.
cord.
It has a cord.
I know people today don't
Yeah.
have any concept. Maybe
Well, I'd show up. I'd go on my lunch, on my breaks. I would go and I'd sit with you. This is while you're pregnant, right? You're doing home study, and I would sit
and
with
you
you.
would come down
Yeah.
and you would see me and you would visit me, and we hung out and we were just friends. And then as soon as Carrie was born and then she was adopted within our family, you and I kind of started dating.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Now, before she was born, though, we're gonna wrap up soon, but tell them you had an abortion scheduled. You weren't sure what to do.
Yeah,
You had an
so-
abortion scheduled, and you couldn't make it work.
In February, when I found out that I was pregnant, I immediately scheduled an abortion in the San Fernando Valley in California. Had an appointment. Everything was ready to go. But I was 15 years old. I had no money. So I was just I didn't know what to do. And I remember calling my older brother and being like, hey, you got to get a credit card. You got to do something. You got to get me some money. I have to get to this appointment to have this abortion. And he was like, absolutely not. No way. And I was like, there's no way Mom and Dad could ever find out. I felt like my life was over. And he took me home and basically saved her life and told my mom and dad that I was pregnant. And that kind of changed everything. I think my parents didn't know what to do. So they called my youth pastor at our church, and his wife took me to a crisis pregnancy center. And I had never heard of a crisis pregnancy center. I didn't know what they were. And I walked in and I saw those plastic modules from the fetus all the way through 9 months, those plastic modules that we all see in doctor's office. And I remember knowing about how many weeks I was. So I was kind of right about there. And I was like, huh. And I just had an encounter with God. And I don't know how else to explain it, but I just knew that life was not for me to take.
Yeah.
And so I walked out of that appointment that day resolute. Yeah, we're not doing an abortion. That's off the table. I'm carrying this baby to term. I don't know what's going to happen next, but that isn't going to be a part of the story. So I walked out knowing that. And then through a sequence of events and our extended family finding out, I had an older cousin. She was married and they had 2 small children, and they adopted Carrie in November of 1989. I just blanked. I was like, wait, what year was she born? So in 1989, November 15th, she was born, and they took her home the next day. And you were there with me through the pregnancy, and then we started dating right after
we started dating
that.
right afterwards, and yeah. And so there's that's an important part of our story. And I think that, not to minimize any of that, but it's that part of where, I remember, we've talked a lot about how when you sat in the hospital room and you're laying there and everybody's making decisions for you and you just wanted to be able to see her one more time, and how that felt, and almost feeling like you were losing your voice. And that was a big part of, like, fast forward, the reason why she talks about that, we talk about that, and that moment is because these are the things that, like, for us, what was brought into our marriage, there was stuff from my past and even stuff that's come to the surface now. And we're so not going to be able to finish this in this podcast. We probably have to unpack more of our story as we go here. It might be a part 2 here because there's a lot to that. It was just the beginning of what led into those first 5 years for us. But I think what was important is that there was stories, there was a narrative that was played out for you about your value, your worth, who you are. And that was what was brought into our marriage from stuff that I dealt with, but then also where you were at.
In hindsight or retrospect, I really believe that I didn't have any baggage because I didn't choose abortion. I chose life, and she's with a great family. And I've found this great guy who's a real stand-up guy. So I'm like, I've got my life back on track. Like, God forgives me. All is well. Like, okay, like, everything's good. You have no idea how much stuff got shoved into that U-Haul. And then, like, on wedding day, or like, that next week we got home from our honeymoon, and it's just like, it's just box after box after box.
Things unraveled beforehand a little bit. They unraveled at that point and ongoing.
Yeah.
And that was the story that was told. Like, that no one's going to tell you what to do. You're not going to lose your voice. And that was for me as well. Like, there was things that I brought in, and I knew I knew that at the end of the day, like, God called. I don't know. I mean, I had a good example of a father growing up, which is great, and of marriage.
Yeah.
So I knew I was called to love. I knew I was called to pursue you.
Yeah.
But for sake of time, we'll probably have to continue. Like, that just scratches the surface of, like, the beginning of our story. And I think it was important to lay some of that out, and we'll continue to go into that because it really gives you a picture into, like, who we are. And probably resonates with many of you that listen as well about what we bring in. And we always see within marriages, we see what is happening at the surface, the symptomatic, right? What's on the branches, but then there's the root, and what is truly happening, what has brought you to where you're at. And there's a thing that those were difficult moments and seasons, but they were also very beautiful because of what they have done to shape us, to mold us. And it's not what we want to go through. And then we've been through so many more difficult seasons in marriage later on. And even the ones that we're going through now in the last number of months that have come up of things for me that we're walking through. But because of where we have been, it has absolutely prepared us for where we are going or where we're at right now.
Yeah. And
so as we continue in the podcast, we continue in the work that we're doing, we want to make sure that hey, you're not alone. Like, we sit here with me too. We're with you. We've been through it. Those first 5 years almost ended us. And so we don't come at this from a place of we have it figured out. We come from a place to walk alongside you, to be your guides, to journey with you, to stand in your corner, to help you lift your arms up when you can't.
Yeah.
It is a privilege and the honor that we get to do what we get to do.
Yeah.
And so we gave you a little bit of a snapshot of our story, and we want to continue to unpack that for you as we go. Please remember to follow, to like, to subscribe. She always laughs at me because I always get it all wrong, all the stuff you do on the internet and all that fun stuff.
He's like, on the interwebs.
I don't say that. But you're an important part of this. We consider this a family, and we want you to be part of that.
Yeah.
So thank you to 23 Media. Thank you for the work that you're doing as well to get the podcast out there, to partner with us. And We're grateful. We're thankful. So go to 24/7 Marriage also, at 247 Marriage on Instagram, on Facebook, and make sure you connect and you follow us. And always remember, in marriage, you don't have to.
You get to.
Have an incredible week.